Since the dawn of time, humanity has recorded more than just history. We've documented our fears. Carved into stone tablets, whispered in sacred scrolls, and inked in forbidden books are the names of beings so terrifying, so unholy, that they were believed to stalk the boundaries between our world and the unknown. These were not figments of imagination. These were demons, real entities to the ancient mind, summoned by ritual, feared by name, and blamed for madness, plagues, and death. Every culture has its monsters, but some demons transcended legend to become icons of horror, immortalized in texts that survived fire, empire collapse, and religious censorship. They weren't just evil. They were chaos, punishment, desire, death. In this video, we unveil the 7 most terrifying demons ever recorded in ancient texts. From the cursed winds of Mesopotamia to the abyssal pages of apocryphal scripture, prepare to meet the horrors that once haunted priests, kings, and prophets alike. These are not just stories. These are warnings left behind for those brave or foolish enough to look too closely. Number 7. Pazuzu, the demon of the southwest wind, Mesopotamian mythology. Long before the modern idea of the devil, the ancient Mesopotamians feared something far older, Pazuzu, the king of the demons of the wind. Feared throughout Akkad, Babylon, and Assyria, Pazuzu was a terrifying hybrid creature. He had the body of a man, the claws of a bird, for wings, a scorpion's tail, and the twisted, grotesque face of a lion or dog. But what truly chilled people wasn't just his image, it was what he brought. Pazuzu was the demon of the southwest wind, a wind associated with scorching droughts and disease, especially plague and fever. His breath was said to dry up crops and bring death into homes. He haunted the deserts and the stormy skies, and when the hot winds blew, people trembled. But Pazuzu was paradoxical. Though evil, he could also be used to fight greater evils. Pregnant women wore amulets of Pazuzu to ward off Lamashtu, a far worse demon who killed newborns. His terrifying image was placed on doorways, not to invite him in, but to scare off other demons. His name appears in multiple cuneiform tablets, protective incantations, and even ritual texts used by exorcists. He wasn't a myth. He was a force to be reckoned with, feared and invoked for centuries. Pazuzu didn't tempt souls or whisper lies. He brought the raw, chaotic power of nature itself. The kind of power that couldn't be reasoned with. Only survived. Number 6. Asmodeus, the demon of lust and ruin, Jewish and Christian texts. Hidden within the shadows of ancient Jewish and Christian texts is a name that echoes with corruption and desire, Asmodeus. He is most famously known from the Book of Tobit, a text once included in certain versions of the Bible. In it, Asmodeus murders 7 husbands, one after the other, on their wedding nights, driven by a jealous obsession for the woman they sought to marry. The demon was not just a killer. He was the embodiment of lust twisted into wrath, a force that tore apart love and poisoned intimacy. But Asmodeus didn't stop at apocryphal scripture. He re-emerged in Talmudic legends, where he is described as the king of demons, a trickster and corrupter who ruled alongside or under Satan. Later, he appeared in medieval grimoires like the Ars Goetia, where he was said to be one of the 72 demons of Solomon, commanding legions of infernal spirits and whispering forbidden knowledge of earthly pleasures, luxury, and destruction. He was often invoked in rituals not for protection, but for power. Magicians and sorcerers sought him out for secrets about hidden treasures or manipulation of others' desires. But summoning him was never without cost. Depictions of Asmodeus vary. Sometimes he has 3 heads, a man, a ram, and a bull, with the tail of a serpent, feet of a cock, and breath that scorched the air. His form was monstrous, but his true danger was subtle, the ability to twist the heart and unravel the soul through obsession. Asmodeus wasn't just feared for what he could do. He was feared for how easily he could make you do it. Number 5. Oni, the brutal ogres of Japanese mythology. Towering figures with blood-stained clubs, skin as red as fire or as blue as the ocean, and horns curling from their skulls. These are the Oni, some of the most feared demons in all of Japanese mythology. Oni are not subtle. They are the embodiment of brute force, cruelty, and unrelenting punishment. In ancient texts like the Neon Shoki and in countless Onmyoto ritual scrolls, Oni are described as ogre-like creatures who feast on human flesh, torment the damned, and appear during disasters or moments of spiritual weakness. Often residing in hellish realms or remote mountain caves, Oni were said to punish the wicked, serving as enforcers in the Buddhist underworld known as Jigaku. There, they flayed, boiled, and crushed the souls of sinners. But Oni didn't just dwell in the afterlife. They also came to the world of the living. Some Oni were once human, sinners so wicked in life that they transformed after death, or even while still alive. Cannibals, murderers, and the insanely cruel could, in legend, become Oni themselves. This made them especially terrifying. They were reminders that evil could grow inside anyone. Their appearances in Japanese art and literature span centuries. They crash through temple gates, haunt festivals, and even appear in Buddhist parables meant to scare monks into virtue. They're not just monsters. They are symbols of the consequences of rage, gluttony, and cruelty. Unlike many demons who seduce or deceive, Oni arrive with thunder and screams. They rip, burn, and crush. And worst of all, they enjoy it. You don't bargain with an Oni. You only hope you never see one. Number 4. Lamia, the child-eating demoness of Greek mythology. To the Greeks, nightmares had a name, and that name was Lamia. Once a beautiful queen of Libya and even a lover of Zeus himself, Lamia was cursed by Hera, the vengeful wife of the king of the gods. Hera, in her jealousy, killed Lamia's children, or in some versions, forced Lamia to kill them herself. The grief drove Lamia mad. Twisted by rage, sorrow, and divine punishment, she became something monstrous. Ancient poets described Lamia as a serpent-bodied demon, with the upper half of a woman and the lower half of a snake. She haunted the night, preying on children, particularly newborns. In some versions, she even drank their blood or sucked the breath from sleeping infants, making her one of the earliest archetypes of the boogeyman. What made Lamia uniquely terrifying was her conscious madness. Cursed never to sleep, she tore out her own eyes in torment, only for them to grow back again. She wandered in agony and hunger, caught in an eternal cycle of grief and cruelty. Later mythographers and Roman demonologists took Lamia even further. She became a seductress, luring young men with beauty before devouring them. Like Lilith or succubi in later traditions, Lamia blurred the line between desire and death, a warning against temptation cloaked in beauty. Lamia wasn't just a monster in stories. She was invoked in lullabies and superstitions across the ancient Mediterranean. Mothers whispered her name not to summon her, but to keep her away. Because Lamia didn't knock, she crept in, silent, into nurseries and dreams. And when she left, nothing remained. Number 3. Lamashtu, the child-killing she-demon, Akkadian/Babylonian mythology. Feared above all in ancient Mesopotamia, Lamashtu was not a demon to be bargained with, appeased, or understood. She was chaos incarnate, a predator of mothers and infants, a bringer of death, sickness, and despair. Lamashtu's name appears in hundreds of Akkadian and Babylonian texts, etched into clay tablets, protective incantations, and ritual amulets. She was described as a monstrous woman with a lion's head, a donkey's teeth, bird talons, and a hairy body, riding a beast, sometimes a donkey, other times a dragon. Her hands were said to be stained with blood. Her appetite? Unholy. She stalked pregnant women and newborns. It was believed she could enter the womb, cause miscarriage, or snatch a baby moments after birth. Mothers wore amulets, hung protective charms, and called upon even terrifying demons like Pazuzu to keep her away. Unlike many ancient demons who were summoned or sent as punishment, Lamashtu acted on her own will. She was a goddess turned rogue, a being of divine origin who chose destruction. That made her infinitely more terrifying. You couldn't reason with her. You couldn't send her back. All you could do was guard your home and pray she passed you by. Exorcists fought tirelessly against her in ancient rites, burning offerings, chanting invocations, placing figurines of Lamashtu near infants to absorb her attention, then throwing them into the river to banish her. But even then, she remained a threat. Mothers feared her name. Priests etched spells against her into stone. And yet she endured, through millennia of folklore. as one of the most relentless killers of innocence ever imagined. Lamashtu wasn't just a demon. She was grief-given form. Number 2. Lilith, the first demoness of the night, Jewish mysticism and Babylonian lore. Before Eve, there was Lilith, a name that has echoed through ancient texts, darkened amulets, and haunted folklore for over 3,000 years. She is often described as the first woman, created not from Adam's rib, but as his equal, from the same earth. But Lilith refused to submit. According to early Jewish mysticism, when Adam demanded dominance, Lilith uttered the secret name of God and fled Eden, choosing exile and freedom over obedience. For this rebellion, she was demonized, not just by Adam, but by heaven itself. In Babylonian and Assyrian myth, similar entities named Lilithu were already feared. Female night spirits who seduced men, strangled infants, and drained the life from the vulnerable. These were the roots from which Lilith's legend grew. In the alphabet of Ben Sira, she is described explicitly as a winged, night-roaming demoness who preyed on children and pregnant women, much like Lamashtu. Lilith appears throughout Kabbalistic texts, often as the bride of Samael, the angel of death. She's associated with darkness, temptation, and forbidden knowledge. But while she was once feared as a destroyer, later interpretations, especially in modern times, cast her as a symbol of feminine power and rebellion. In ancient tradition, though, she was no hero. To keep her away, Jewish families in the Middle Ages hung protective amulets inscribed with angels' names, Sanvi, Sansanvi, and Samanjlath, the only beings said to have power over her. Her legend was so terrifying that she was blamed for crib death, miscarriages, and erotic nightmares. She didn't need to tear down cities or command armies. Lilith's power was far more intimate. She turned love into fear, dreams into traps, and birth into tragedy. She was the night made flesh, the rebel, the seductress, the curse. Number 1. Samael, the poison of God, Jewish mysticism, Apocrypha, and Kabbalah. In the most ancient and mystical layers of Jewish theology, there exists a figure more feared than Satan himself, Samael, whose name means the poison of God. He is not a mere demon, but a paradox, both angel and destroyer, servant of divine justice and enemy of human life. In early apocryphal texts like the Book of Enoch, Samael is described as the angel of death, the one who guides souls to the afterlife, or simply ends them. But unlike a neutral reaper, Samael takes pleasure in destruction. He is not cold, he is cruel. The Zohar, a foundational work of Jewish mysticism, speaks of Samael as the husband of Lilith, united in unholy matrimony. Together, they birth spirits of darkness. While Satan tempts, Samael executes. He brings pestilence, madness, and war. His presence is felt in plagues, divine punishment, and moral collapse. In some traditions, Samael is the serpent in the Garden of Eden, not just a deceiver, but the architect of the fall itself. He doesn't just rebel, he distorts the will of God, corrupting what was meant to be pure. Some Kabbalistic texts even place him as the left hand of God, a necessary evil used to test, punish, and destroy. And therein lies his terror. He acts with divine permission. Descriptions of Samael vary across centuries, but he is often portrayed with a blinding radiance and monstrous wings, sometimes with 12 wings, eyes like burning coals, and a voice that causes the earth to tremble. He can appear beautiful or horrific, depending on the soul that sees him. Samael doesn't just kill the body, he poisons the soul. He is the whisper in the moment of weakness, the judge at the edge of death, and the executioner none can escape. He is not evil for evil's sake. He is the cold consequence of divine wrath. And in the ancient texts, even the angels fear to speak his name. Across thousands of years and countless cultures, these demons were not dismissed as mere myths. They were recorded in sacred texts, feared in rituals, and invoked by name when death, disaster, or desire loomed. Each demon we explored, Pazuzu, Asmodeus, Oni, Lamia, Lamashtu, Lilith, and Samael, reflects not just ancient horror, but ancient wisdom. They were manifestations of chaos, punishment, and the unknown, reminding humanity that evil doesn't always come with horns. It comes with hunger, grief, and sometimes beauty. Though time has passed, their stories still echo. Whether buried in clay tablets, hidden in banned books, or whispered in religious traditions, these entities have endured. They shaped our nightmares. They stalked our folklore. And perhaps, they still linger in the shadows. Because long before horror films, before the devil had a name, there were these 7. The demons that terrified the ancient world. See you in the next video.